Welcome back into Norfolk and the barn conversion that we've been showing you over the last few months really. And we're now at the stage where the floor has been completely laid in the main body of the barn. This is Jaipur brushed and tumbled limestone. It's in a variable length, all 600mm wide. The largest of the pavers, these ones are 900. And then there are some 600 by 600, some 600 by 400, and some 600 by 300. And it allows you to create this very rustic, uneven, and what is supposedly a very aged look to a very new floor. The tumbled edges and the variation in the widths, well, not the widths, the lengths, but also to a degree the width, is not precise. So although each of these is coming out at 600, you'll see that there is quite a bit of variation, and that means that the people that laid this decided we needed quite a wide grouting spacing between the different pavers. Jaipur limestone has a lovely depth and variation of colour in it. Some pieces are grey, some have got a pinky edge to it, there's a little bit of blue and greens in here, even some olive in places. So the overall effect is very uneven, very rustic, but for a barn conversion like this, we really are very pleased with the overall effect that it's given us. We decided to lay the straight lines or long lengths from the front to the rear of the barn and not on the longest of the lengths in this room. The reason being, there isn't a single one of these walls that's absolutely at 90 degrees to another one there. This is an old building, and by putting a straight line down it, that emphasises the irregularity of the wall shape. So by keeping your long lines on the shorter of the room lengths, that tends to emphasise any defects in the shape to a lesser degree. You're less likely to get cheese wedges evident down the sides of the walls. And it's worked out very well for us. If you look at this front wall, we've got a nice irregular match where it comes up to where the skirting boards will be. This has been grouted in a mortar mix that was used to lay it. Parts have been down now for 3 days and mortared. And the last piece in this area behind the log burner was just put down yesterday, so we're waiting probably another 24 hours. I've just come into this area. This is the last window to be fitted here, which is really going to transform this area, but it's quite dark at the moment. Still see the grout here is a little darker than in other places where it's only just been put down yesterday. If you look back on the long aspect of this room, you can see the full effect. We're very pleased with the floor. Also like the half that we've used the reclaimed tiles that came out of the old garden room just to tie it back in with other bits around the farmhouse. The log burner is an eco, I think it's the 678 model. It's not yet being commissioned because we're waiting for the external air kit, which will be fitted onto that port that runs under this floor to the external wall. There's a lot of second fit and final fit carpentry, electrics. We've got no lights in currently. That's still all to be done. Hopefully next week. We're not that far off with this. I should think maybe another 2 to 3 weeks work in here should see us more or less done. This wall still hasn't dried out and we've overlined it. I think we're going to give that a timber face just to tidy up the area. I think it's going to be a problematic area. The bricks are just too far gone to actually live with that degree of rustic finish. So we're going to put some boarding in front of those, and actually the pipework tubing for the supplies to the cooker are probably going to be embedded behind wood now. But we'll see. We're still undecided on the height because we definitely want to keep the air bricks, and then the feature above here with the lime on the old walls and the Norfolk red bricks, but the air bricks we do want to keep as a feature. The utility room, very pleased with, coming on. Basically ready here for the final second fit, but more carpentry to go in. Went down yesterday to Parfit's in Dis to look at a really nice couple of pieces of marble that have been reserved for the first piece of furniture that's going on that end wall. And that's really quite exciting to see those things coming together, but we're not going to rush this. We haven't got to have this finished by a set date. I've got this floor to seal, and that's what my job over this weekend is, to get at least 2 coats of a water-based sealant onto this limestone and protect it from any staining, because at the moment it's incredibly porous. And really to have this as a workable interior stone floor, we need some sealant on there. It's not a high sheen finish, it's not going to put a gloss finish on it, it's a semi-matte water-based sealant which should render it partially water sealed, and that will hopefully reduce the amount of staining and dirt that works its way into this floor, but that will need replacing every so often. We take that as read when you decide to put a real stone floor into a big area like this. But the overall effect, I think, when we start getting the second fit completed in here, is going to be fantastic. It's a lovely big space, total area in this one room with the 4 aspects when they're all opened up. It's going to be around 90 metres of floor space, and we're starting to get some really good vistas now. If that dumper truck moves and the pipe work gets buried, we should have a nice aspect to the north looking out over the cutting and vegetable garden. So lovely spaces, really exciting time to see the development. Always seems to take a lot longer than you will hope it will at this second fit, final fit phase, but there's an awful lot still to be done, and we realise that. And we're just trying to be super relaxed with the building team and letting them do it in a sensible order so that we can get some of these surfaces protected, sealed, painted, and all ready for the move-in date, which is probably going to be hopefully sometime in June.